I don't know how well people can hear me. I'm gonna check on Twitch. We'll check. How well can you hear me? Damn. We will... Filters. Gain of maybe 2.2. $3.5. Mm-hmm. 4.1. I think I had it at 4.1 the last time. So right now we're just gonna wait for people to flood in. Done. So that should work. Okay. We'll flip this on. And slideshow start. How well? How well is it gonna work? Next. Check. Okay. So here's what we're gonna do today, actually. We're going to shut the camera off today. So, webcam off. Webcam frame off. How does that look? Mind you, this is the first time I'm trying this, so it's a new way to do this. To me, honestly. So we will go back to the previous slot. There we go. Yes, different new overlay. So something a little more minimalistic. Minimalistic? So, yes, we have the webcam turned off for once today. So we'll just wait for people to come in. Because, like I said, trying something new. I mean, why not? And I'll hop in Discord, because why not? And so we will. Oh, I didn't mean to hit that. I didn't mean to hit the. So we go back to previous. Hey, we're already up to 3 viewers. Hello, hello. How are you all doing? So, in my Discord, I'm going to be putting a slide. Now, this slide was. Let's just say it was not even half complete. This was a project from grade 11, if I remember correctly. And so, most of the sources, I have to go onto my hard drive and find them again, because I have them typed out somewhere on my hard drive. And I also have to find that hard drive. Because, me being stupid, I put the two pieces of this project onto 2 different memory drives. I don't know why I did it, but I've kind of wanted to do this before, and, well, I figured, you know what, might as well finish it, right? So, I'll still wait for people to come in. You guys are free to chat if you want. So, hit that. Just wait for people. We'll start at around 7:50. Because yeah, no, I won't be having a webcam on this time because it takes up a lot of space. I'll be straight up and honest. I will freaking. Just so. Twitch, you are so funny some days. Like, it can be funny as hell some days. Before any of you say anything, yes, I know I'm still on the starting screen. It's because I'm waiting for a few people to come in. Because, I mean, why not, right? I just don't want to be going back and forth, back and forth. Let me check the tags again. Let me check. History. Let's see here. What else can I put in? Here we go. We didn't put that one in. Let's see here. Where? So, I mean, why not try something new? Not game show. Alright, let's see here. What else can I throw in here? Definitely not original works. I think we'll do update. There we go. That should work. And Fly's hanging out in tiny stream room. That's alright. Just wait. So basically right now we're just waiting. Because then this is also going to go up on YouTube as well, and we'll pull it from... I'm going to basically edit it down in Twitch. Pull it so that way, I think if it's under good amount of time. And then we'll go from there. So, and since it's a new freaking setting, I have to. You can probably hear the bathtub going on. Hey, Admiral Kai, how's it going? Trying something new out. That's good, man. So, welcome to the first proper Fun Fact Friday, where I'm not playing World of Warships in the background. This is gonna be interesting to try out. Oh. Start slideshow. Well, we're just gonna wait for a few more people to come in if they want to. Fun fact? Well, here, let me give you a hint on what it's on about, basically. And yes, I have the webcam turned off because it's just taking up too much memory. It's basically about the Scharnhorst. This is an old project I started in high school and never finished because we actually didn't end up doing a final project for that part of the course, which kind of tipped me off because, yes, the German battleship or battle cruiser, whichever one you want to call it, I don't know which one it is. Battleship, battle cruiser. I mean, it's battleship armor. So. But it has cruiser guns. 11-inch guns are cruiser guns. So this is more or less like. Here, let me show you. And it's pretty. How should I say? Rudimentary, because this is an old project. From like grade 11. And I finished, and I actually remembered that I had half of it done. So I finished it off this afternoon. Because I'm like, you know what? Why not? Let's present it. Yes, big guns. That's how I put it. And this is what I did before playing World of Warships. A lot of the times, I was going off of Drankin Fennell's videos. Not like outright copying him, but some of his time stamps I used as basic benchmarks. So it's kind of like, how should I say it? How do I put it? In lamest terms, how do I put it? It's not copying, I know that. It's like taking someone else's words and putting it in your own. How do you freaking... I'm gonna update the title, so I don't think I updated the title. Update. There we go. And I think I didn't have the display capture. Actually, no. I'm gonna actually try game capture. The latest subscriber thing is blocking. Oh, is it? Here, hold on a second. Let me try something. Properties. Sure, specific window. Window. Yes. Oh, it wasn't that one. I think it was this one. Yeah, hang on a second. Why the hell is it popping up so big? I have no idea. Zoom this down. This is really awkward. Come on. Come on. There you go. Good. I think I have it centered. Oh, you're not going to be able to see chat as well, so because the white is just, like I said, this is something new I'm trying, so oh, wrong one. I got the wrong one. Actually, no, I'm gonna leave it right there. Wait. Okay. What am I waiting for? Yeah, the bars are blocking. So here's what I'm gonna try. We're gonna try it like this. How does that work? Yeah, it seems to. Okay. Ha ha ha. Very funny, Blue Thoughts. No, it's because the webcam's just taking too much space up. This is an old project that I started in grade 11, if I remember correctly, and I decided to finish it today. And I never actually got to use this one. It never got graded. It never even got graded. Which, when you think about it, it would be kind of annoying, would it be? Wouldn't it be? Just be working on something and then you don't even get to present it. That would be annoying. There you go, buddy. There you go. Sometimes it just takes time to get to them. It just takes sometimes a lot of time. Depending, if you will. If you will. And try something. Nope, that didn't work. Delete. It's 40 followers by the end of July. Ah, well, if you hit it before then, that's good. That's very good. You're at 36. Might change it to 50. No, what you do is you go up by tens. You go up by tens, and I mean, that's how I did it, at least. You go up by tens, so that way it's, how should I say it, reachable. How's the audio, by the way? Hey, Ender. Thank you for the raid. How's it going? How is your stream as well, by the way? Yep, it's a raid. I'm trying something new, so why not? Because, I mean, why not? Try a new raid. Here, let me test something else. Where the... There we go. Normally you're not able to hear that part. Now it's just time to have some fun. Try something new. You guys are free to chat about it if you want. Also, another thing. I am no history, don't have a history degree. This is just a project I want to present, so why not? Because there's so much more we can do. And Dave's in here as well. Should I get started, or... Stop rambling on and get on with it? Because I can. But yes, thank you for the raid, Ender. Actually, probably add a filter. .4. Do it that way. Because I remember having it down here. And so, welcome to 4 viewers who are here. Now, feel free to ask any questions, but I will put my sources for this, once I find them, in either Discord, or since this might be going up on YouTube, if it goes up on YouTube, I'll put my sources in the descriptions. So, let's get started. So, where do we start? So, Operation Cerberus, that's where we will start. Any Brits are going to be embarrassed about me bringing this up. Sorry, but you guys screwed up on that one. You could have sunk almost the entire German Navy besides the frickin' submarines. And bad luck, and or some people say incompetence, but you know, I guess it happens, shit happens. But Scharnhorst does get a bit of damage, out of all places, from a sea mine. No, not a torpedo, just one of those bobbing sea mines. Hold on. Anyway, while Scharnhorst is in dry dock, Battle of the Barents Sea happens. And, well, that doesn't go well for the Germans. They got... I think Jingles will use the term paddled hard in that case. So, it doesn't go well. So after that, someone then proceeds to lose their mind. You know who all I'm talking about. You all know who I'm talking about. But he basically wants the entire surface fleet of the Kriegsmarine scrapped. And, to be honest, with the Russian Red Army bearing down on him, I don't really think he had... How do I put it? How do I put this politely? He wanted the surface fleet scrapped and devoted to U-boats. All those resources, all those minerals, all to U-boats. With the Red Army bearing down on him, possibly he didn't send those into tanks and aircraft. But let's face it, most of their heavy units were either stationed were in Norway right about this time as well. Like Tirpitz. I think Prince Eugen was there as well. So Donetsk, at this time I think Raider has been replaced. If I remember correctly. I can't find the exact date, but Raider was replaced at this point because Donetsk basically saves the surface fleet, but can't save Scharnhorst's sister ship Gneiss now. Which she also went to dry dock. They were, you see that in the game World of Warships, she has the 15-inch gun turrets. Those were planned to be put in on both ships, but I've heard both stories that the turrets weren't even ready to be put in when she was bombed. The turrets were going to be there the next day, or in the next week, to be put in. So, who do you believe? Oh, you know. But she had sunk as a block ship, basically. So, after a bit of dry dock time, Scharnhorst sent to Altafjord in Norway, which, if I mispronounced that, I am freaking sorry. Right, Norwegians. And it's basically one of the big places you can put a battleship, and it can sneak out into the Arctic. I think it was the Arctic Sea, the Arctic Ocean, if I remember correctly. That's what they call it, sea or ocean. I think it's just the same shit. And threaten the Arctic convoys that's going from Britain to Russia and back, because Lend-Lease. Now, also, Tirpitz is there, and the British are scared of her sailing, because you have P217 happen, and that wasn't even from Tirpitz. That was just the threat of the threat of Tirpitz sailing. They got word that she was getting ready to sail, and they ordered the convoy to scatter. And she never set sail. The U-boats picked the ships off. They had a field day. So the thought of Scharnhorst and Tirpitz must have scared the shit out of the British Navy. And the reason why the British were keeping an eye where Tirpitz and Scharnhorst were is because, and they knew when they were going to set sail, because their German naval codes were broken. So take it as like modern day spying. You're basically reading people's text messages. Not really pointing any fingers at anyone. You know who you are. So literally it just becomes, I'll say, both a waiting game and a judgment game to see when Scharnhorst is going to sail. But then Tirpitz gets put out of action due to some midget subs. So that just leaves Scharnhorst for now. Until they could get repairs on Tirpitz, which she won't be ever seaworthy again afterwards. And so December 25th rolls around. Luftwaffe recon spots JW-55B. And the British are notified. She leaves Altafjord to engage it, accompanied by a few destroyer escorts. Which is, if I remember correctly, what was left of the German destroyer first. And basically, JW-55B, it was basically a trap for... So, hang on a second. Okay. So, what's going on here? Uh-oh. Having problems. Stand by. Yeet. Stand by. There we go. So, two commanders that are going to be at it. Admiral Bruce Fraser and Contra Admiral Eric Bay. Now, Fraser was, at the time, Chief of the Home Fleet in 1943. And if I did my math correctly, he had about 43 years in the Royal Navy. He was in the Royal Navy for 43 years at this point. And this isn't the first time he's mentioned Scharnhorst. Everyone has to remember, Scharnhorst sunk HMS Glorious. And it's because of this, he turned down First Sea Lord. 1943, he got his chance to basically get revenge. Now, Bay, on the other hand, had 27 years in Kriegsmarine. If I did my math right again, I'm bad with math. And he was, by the way, this is the most of the stuff I got done. So, if I remember correctly, he was at Narvik, and he led a couple of destroyers, I think, against or tried to get him out of Narvik, because you had tribals and Warspite basically deleting destroyers at that point. Yes, Warspite annihilated that destroyer. So for everyone wondering, yes, Warspite paddled a lolly boat. Now I can hear the FBI open up. And he got the Iron Cross First Class, if I remember correctly. And around sometime in 1943, he received command of Scharnhorst's task force. Or task team. Task force? Task unit? I think. I can't remember what they would call it. But the Scharnhorst would be his final command. So, fleet composition. This is basically fleets of the home fleet and the escorts. Now, I didn't mention Admiral Burnett because at the time, and I couldn't find much on him. So, bear with me. You have one battleship, HMS Duke of York, King George V class battleship, 14-inch guns. Hold on. There we go. And you have one cruiser and this is Admiral Fraser's unit. They have HMS Duke of York and HMS Jamaica, which is basically a cruiser. Which is a heavy cruiser. And 4 destroyers. For the life of me, I couldn't find the names. Well, actually, I think I found names for them. I think it may have been a new website that I looked at, but I found the names of them. I just didn't trust it at first, so. But I know definitely, since 4 destroyers. Force 2 was commanded by Admiral Burnett. 3 cruisers, Belfast, Sheffield, and Norfolk. And 8 destroyers. Fun fact, HMCS Haida was amongst those destroyers in one of the convoys. And HMS Athabasca and HMCS Haida, HMCS Athabasca, and HMCS Huron, if I remember correctly, was amongst them. I can't exactly remember. But you have 4 Canadian ships involved, which, when I found out, that was kind of cool to find out. On the Germans, you have Scharnhorst, because that's basically their only operational battleship at this point. Because Turpus was out of action, she's basically a floating AA barge at this point. You have the 5 destroyers of, I think, the Narvik class destroyers, if I remember correctly, or they might be another class. I can't remember all the classes of the Germans. The class of destroyers the Germans have. And in the area, they have 7 U-boats and two Luftwaffe aircraft. At this point, these 2 are negligible. Should probably take those out, because they didn't matter at this point. Well, they mattered for spot. The Luftwaffe mattered for a spot in the convoy, but as you're about to see, it's not going to end well. Nope. Next slide, please. Come on. Okay, we'll do it this way. Now, let's look at the big guns. Duke of York. Speed, 28.3 knots. 14-inch main battery guns. In the 2 quad turrets, and then you have the weirdly twin turreted design up front, which I don't know why they did that. You could have added a 15-inch battery. You could have made it either 15-inch or 16-inch at that point, which is like, really? 16 5.2-inch secondaries, which aren't that bad actually. 40mm AA guns, and those are the 40mm pom-pom guns, which are not the Bofors. Well, I guess you could say the British Bofors, but they come in quad mounts, quad mounts, and 6 20mm Oerlikons. Most common one around here. Now, Scharnhorst, lead ship of the Scharnhorst class, obviously. She has the nickname Lucky Scharnhorst. She is basically the most successful German battleship around. She sunk more than Bismarck. She sunk a bunch of merchant shipping, and sunk HMS Glorious. So she has warship kill to her name. Plus, she did what she was actually meant to do, which was sink merchant shipping. 32 knot max speed, which is really, compared to these 2, this is going to win in an all-out race. And this is... So, fun fact, Scharnhorst actually has a different bow when she was first commissioned. It was more or less like a straight line bow. I don't know why they did it like that. And then something happened that caused them basically cut the bow off and give her a flared Atlantic bow, which is really good for speed and cutting through rough seas. Yes, we all know Scharnhorst has torps. I know that for a fact because I've done enough drive-bys in World of Warships. And her secondaries, 12, 15 centimeters secondaries and 14, 10.5 centimeters secondaries. That will hurt you. But also her 11-inch main gun batteries. Her main guns will hurt. And then she has her AA and then her torpedoes. But when it comes to all firepower, this wins, hands down. Besides the torpedoes. When it comes to speed, this thing wins. So, battle plans. Both sides plan to use the cover of darkness and the bad weather's put in the light nicely. Absolute shit weather puts it better. Because radar is going to play a big part in this one. So, they were going to use the convoy to lure Scharnhorst out, and then they were going to let her get close. Closer than they planned, closer than 12,000 yards. And the thing they had to do was damage her or sink her quickly. So that way she couldn't run away. Then they would have to worry about her being fixed up. And then going back out and doing more chaos. The Germans, on the other hand, were to find the convoy, avoid any heavy fleet units, and sink and damage as many ships as possible, which was the merchant ships. Duke of York did kill her, but it was more or less Scharnhorst got mauled to death, basically, by cruisers, destroyers, and Duke of York. Now, when it comes to the radar department, the Royal Navy wins, hands down, because at this point, their radar outranges anything the Germans have. So they could basically fire outside of Scharnhorst's radar range, and Scharnhorst wouldn't know where the shells are coming from. They'd have to look for the muzzle flashes. And they also have the edge in intelligence because they have the Enigma machine that was broken, and so all the codes, they're just basically like reading all the German text messages. But we have to remember, Germans are outnumbered, but they're not exactly outgunned. When it comes to all firepower, I say Duke of York versus Scharnhorst wins, hands down. Duke of York beats Scharnhorst, hands down, because 14-inch guns versus 11-inch guns. But depending on the crew, you can load those 11-inch guns faster than a 14-inch gun. And they have submarines in the area, but we aren't counting the Luftwaffe because weather effectively grounds them, and submarines aren't going to be able to see jack squat in it in the weather. So this is where it all begins and goes to shit. So maybe around 03. By the way, if you go watch Stratton Finel's video on this, yes, I did use the timestamps from his video, but I only used them for like a basis. I talked to one of my friends, and he said, he's in the army, and he's like, yeah, you can lose track of time in a firefight. So the times are guessed, but I'm using them as benchmarks. So take the times with a grain of salt. So at 3 a.m., thinks he's missed the convoy, so he sends his destroyers behind him to look for it. At the same time, Fraser orders the convoy RA-55A, which is basically JW-55B, or RA-55A, which is returning from Russia, north, to get them the hell out of the combat zone, if you will. That's going to become absolute chaos in the weather. And he'll also take four of the destroyer escorts away from him. And I assume for ASW, but at this time, I think he could have left them, but they would actually be more help than he thought. JW-55B remains on course because nothing from them is reported. Belfast picks up Scharnhorst at 8:45. At 14 miles, moving north of west. I thought I said north to west. Derp. And remember when I said what I said about British radar? Scharnhorst doesn't see the British yet. And at 9:20, Sheffield's lookouts somehow, HMS Sheffield's lookouts somehow, through a snowstorm, managed to see the outline of Scharnhorst, which is like, how do you even do that? Like, how? Hold on. So everyone on Sheffield, they use the big signal lamp to semaphore to Belfast. The enemy is in sight. Now, Belfast fires a star shell at 9:25, so 5 minutes later. This is followed by Belfast and Sheffield sending their first salvos towards Scharnhorst. At this time, though, Scharnhorst is turning north, so they miss. Norfolk doesn't fire right away, so this allows her to basically adjust her guns to get near or basically hit Scharnhorst right off the bat. And she does. She lands 3 hits. One doesn't do anything really. One destroys the AA director on the port side, but the main one knocks out the forward radar set for her 2 forward turrets. And let's throw in the fact that Bay thinks that Norfolk is a Revenge class battleship because of the gun propellant they're using is, how should we say, it's making the muzzle flashes pop up a lot brighter. The Belfast and Sheffield are using a newer type of propellant at this point for their rounds. Norfolk's still using the old stuff. So, it's reasonable to assume that Norfolk is a Revenge class battleship in the snow, fog, and rough seas, because the outline is all obscured and she's slightly longer than it. So Scharnhorst turns south, so that way they can bring her rear turret into action, because it has its own separate radar set. And they power on as much speed as they can for what the seas will allow it. But she actually is able to outrun the British cruisers in this speed. Now, if it was calm seas, not so much. They would win. The British cruisers would be able to catch her, and you leave 3 British cruisers. I think, depending on how they're captain, Scharnhorst is not gonna last. It's gonna last a long time, but eventually is going to get fucked basically. Their speed is around 20 to 30 knots, again due to the heavy seas. It's not a full retreat though. So their range is opening. They're basically, the 3 cruisers will cease fire and they effectively disappear. And they still have Scharnhorst on their radar scopes. Scharnhorst doesn't. She has a, if I remember correctly, she has a general idea where they are. So 5 minutes later, she turned northeasterly, attempting to outflank the cruisers and head for the convoy. And Scharnhorst is still on their scope, so the cruisers see this, and they try to cut her off. But the maneuver made them disappear for a little bit, so now they're relying on luck calculations and dead reckoning. Now the destroyers that were coming from RA-55A linked up with the 3 cruisers. Here, the names are right here: Musketeer, Matchless, Opportune, Virago. And they are ordered basically to screen for the cruisers and the convoy nearby. You autocorrect this, hey bitch. And they start escorting the convoy again. But they know Scharnhorst is around, so everyone's on a little more high alert. I know. Shut. Goddamn mic. It cut out. So anyway, after some spotty radar contacts, Belfast gets a good radar contact at 30,000 yards. That's pretty damn far. So they wait for Scharnhorst to come into visual range. Which, what can you call visual range in the weather? And they greet her with all the shells they start firing at. They greet her at 11,000 yards. Once again, they let her close at 12,000. They start lighting her up at 11,000 yards. Which is, in that weather and seas, is pretty damn impressive to me. And the destroyers are ordered to close and attack with torpedoes. But the weather kind of saves Scharnhorst at this point. Scharnhorst in the weather can actually outrun the destroyers. Doesn't prevent Musketeer from getting within 7,000 yards and firing with her main guns. Which, what do you think is going to happen? There's a couple hits, but it's not. There's nothing damaged badly until Scharnhorst fires back and hits Norfolk with an 11-inch shell to the barbette at the rear firing turret. The second rear turret. Or the super firing one, I guess you could say, which is the one. Which is the one mounted higher up. It's the one mounted higher up than the deck mounted turret. I will call it that. And another one knocked out her radar. So Norfolk's effectively blind now. So that's bad. Sheffield received some splinter damage, which is going to come back later. After that, Scharnhorst turns and runs again. But it's a fighting retreat, more or less. So, with the weather starting to calm down, cruisers are able to keep up with Scharnhorst. So, but they stop firing again because the range is opened up. So, increased distance? Yeah. If you don't, what I'm thinking they're thinking of is save shells for when they get in close. No use on wasting them at long range. At this point, Bay gives up on finding the convoy and says, screw this, let's go home. So, since he's dragging the escort away, though, he gives the destroyers a direction to go find the convoy, but the position they give is not correct. So they miss the convoy, and I think only U-boats manage to find the convoy, and they give it a good smacking. And Sheffield, remember the damage to Sheffield, she has to slow down because it's starting to cause problems. Norfolk 2 slows down because she effectively is blind and can't really see anything. Which leaves Belfast with Scharnhorst. Belfast doesn't engage, knowing she can't win. So, Belfast starts trailing her, keeping track of Scharnhorst's every move. Duke of York finally pops out at around 1640. M is moving in for the kill. They are basically moving to cut Scharnhorst off from escaping. Belfast is then ordered to fire a star shell to light up the area. And Duke of York doesn't immediately open fire. Scharnhorst doesn't know Duke of York is there yet. So Fraser lets Scharnhorst get closer and closer and closer. I forget how close they let her get. But I think they say at 12,000 yards they let her in. I think she may have gotten even closer. And then they send up one of their star shells, which is bigger than Belfast's star shells, which catches everyone's attention, followed by some not so harmless 14-inch armor piercing shells. Yeah, that's a bad day for Scharnhorst right there. The German battleships were not. They were meant as merchant hunters. They were not meant to take on. Well, Scharnhorst's class was not meant to take on full-blown battleships. They were basically ordered not to engage any heavy fleet units. That's why you hear the story of after HMS Glowworm gets sunk, Scharnhorst and Denise now turn and run away from Renown, because why is their Renown's basically being handled like a battleship, and they're like, why is this going on? Oh my god, let's run away. So, first salvo knocks out the forward turrets. Now, it doesn't permanently knock them out. They come back online later, but briefly. But they're effectively neutralized. More shells from Jamaica come in, destroy the hangar on the starboard side. So Scharnhorst turns east to make a run for it. And so Duterte gives chase, but she has to turn away to avoid torpedoes had Scharnhorst fired them. Because you won't know, at that time you wouldn't know if they fired torpedoes unless you saw them fired, which in the weather is impossible. So, and between 1700 and 1900, Scharnhorst basically gets mauled and turned into a burning fire pit, basically. Scharnhorst does manage to take out the cables for Dutyard's radar, but one of her crew members, I tried finding a guy's name, and they couldn't, for the life of me, I couldn't find his name. He climbed the mast and spliced them back together by hand in rolling seas and that cold Arctic weather. He must have been slow. He must have been really, really slow, because he had to haul those big iron balls up with him. Jesus. Like, in that seas, I don't know if I would do it. I don't know. I might be crazy, but I don't know if I'm that crazy. I might be. We'd have to find out. So it looks like Scharnhorst is about to get away until a 14-inch shell smashes through the deck, through the armor, into the engine room. That's not good, because it rats a lot of stuff. So, they managed to repair some of the damage, but they don't. But at this point, the engines just can't keep up anymore, and she starts to slow down. The British basically have her at their mercy. They order radios to Germany that they will fight until it is all over. In which she does. Even after she is basically burning, her secondaries are still going. Destroyers score 3 torpedo hits, Scharnhorst begins to starboard, and with her screw still spinning, she rolls over and sinks. Not very peacefully though, because there is an explosion either of the one of the magazines or the boilers going. And she also takes most of her crew with her. There are a few hundred survivors in the ocean. They wasn't among them, unfortunately. And only 36 were pulled because the rest, they. In that water, you'd have. What? If I had to guess, like 2 to 5 minutes before hypothermia catches you. And they managed to pull 36 out of the Arctic waters. That's amazing that they managed to get that many. Sad, but 36 for the weather and how cold it was. 36 people rescued. That's better than what you're gonna get. So, lessons from this engagement. It shows how vital a good radar set is. Nowadays you have basically radar guided ships, or you have radar for everything. Radar for missiles, radars for guns on every single ship you can think of. And now you can basically see through any weather and fight in any weather. All lessons from this. Now one of the things I want to bring up. Why is this battle not talked more about? I think it deserves its own place in history, honestly. So, Scharnhorst did what Bay said. They would fight until they couldn't go anymore. And I'll just let you guys read this because it perfectly sums up what Scharnhorst did. Give you a few minutes. Done reading? Alright. I actually like this. What he says. So, that's basically this Fun Fact Friday. I'm going to think of a better name for it. Hope you all enjoyed. And I guess right now we can get into questions. If there's anyone here. If not, then I'm gonna call it a night. And there's no many people on here. Alright, well, I'm gonna call it a night now, so have a good night, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will be uploading a version on YouTube, so keep a head up for that. Bye.